So I was listening to Serpi, and Serpi was speaking about Canada's recent decision to free up visas for 13 Caribbean countries, or 13 countries, not just Caribbean, to travel to Canada, you know what I mean, by just using passports and whatnot. And Serpi was of the view that, well, foreigners pretend that they like Jamaicans, but they don't really like Jamaicans. They only see Jamaicans for a mockery and whatnot. And I am someone who is always, I agree with most things Serpi says, especially when it comes to crime fighting and so forth. But for this situation, I think Serpi was kind of in his feelings, and that is why he took this approach, which is obviously not true. Because foreigners absolutely adore Jamaicans. They love Jamaicans. But you see, the thing is, Jamaicans have developed a good reputation because of our entertainment and our athletes, of course, and our warm personality. They love our personality. However, there are the few bad Jamaicans who have traveled to international countries and have, done very poorly in representing the countries. They have brought crime and violence with them. I remember someone in Curacao told me that the police officers in Curacao never used to carry firearms. You know what I mean? They were just button police officers, you know what I mean? Until Jamaicans started to travel to Curacao, they, started to abuse police officers and so forth. And that is why they decided to arm the police officers. And if you can trace back to the days of the Shower Posse gang, you know what I mean? They wreaked havoc in the United States, you know what I mean? Causing problems in Florida, problems in Dallas, problems in New York, problems in DC and so forth. So people like those are the ones who basically caused, Jamaicans to have such, a negative light on them. And the same thing goes for Trinidad, you know what I mean? Jamaicans have gone to Trinidad, and as you can see, what is taking place in the Trinidad society right now, it mirrors what is taking place in Jamaica, whereas criminal activities are concerned. You can see the similarities in the behavior patterns, the music, that is being perpetuated in Trinidad right now. So it's not that people don't love Jamaica, Serpi. They do love Jamaica. But you can love someone but still know that that person is bad for you. And in this case, doesn't mean all Jamaicans. It means some Jamaicans. But because they can't just look at a Jamaican and tell if this person is going to be of good character or if this person is going to bring value to your country, they would rather just say, you know what? Let's just take the safer route and not admit all Jamaicans, because it's hard to screen to see if this person A will come to the country and add positivity, or will this person A come to the country and add negativity. So the good is suffering for the bad. It's no rocket science. It's not like they don't respect Jamaicans. They don't love Jamaicans. Jamaica is not marketable. It's none of that. They absolutely love Jamaicans. I work with Americans right through. I've encountered like several Australians, Africans, Asians, and many times when they are in my presence, they assume that I am an African American, and once they hear that Jamaican accent, all of a sudden they will warm up to me. And the treatment is different based on the fact that I am from Jamaica. So I know for a fact that foreigners absolutely love Jamaicans. However, it is those bad apples, those few bad apples. And tell you why this is ironic also, because Serpi himself has highlighted on many occasions that it's a few Jamaicans that are causing crime and violence to spiral out of control. He has always said it's a few men, that is basically blowing up the spot. And it's the same thing on the international scene. It's a few Jamaicans who are creating havoc internationally. You know what I mean? And it then reflects on the entire population. So I think for Serpi to say that, you know, to make it seem as though the international community has no respect for Jamaicans and they only see us as clowns, and that is why they don't want us in their country, that is not true. You know what I mean? And I think he was just being emotional in this regard. Canada is also like, Canada is not a country that people per se want to go. Canada is a reject country. You know, Canada is acting as if, oh, people are dying to come to our shores. People are not dying to go to Canada. Canada has been underpopulated for many, many years, and it is still underpopulated because nobody wants to live there. You know what I mean? It's like the University of the West Indies and UTech. You know, persons who can't matriculate for the University of the West Indies, they go to UTech or Micah, one of those schools. You know what I mean? But if they had the choice and it was easy to go to the University of the West Indies, everyone would go to the University of the West Indies and ignore Michael or UTech or the one up in Mandeville, NCU. You know what I mean? So Canada is basically like a UTech or a NCU or one of those rejected universities. So for them to be behaving like, oh, we are this prim and posh country and you can't come here, whatever, like, get a grip on yourself. Nobody wants to go to Canada. Nobody is killing up themselves to go to Canada. It's people only go there because the money is a little bit better than Jamaica or than regular countries, and that's about it. You know, if you don't get a United States visa, you try for a Canada visa reluctantly. You know what I mean? So to be there acting like, oh, they are in this position of power and this and that, and you man, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit, Canada. You know what I mean? But I mean, I also think that it's not over for Jamaica. I think that if we can get a grip on the crime situation, we can bring the crime rate down, especially since these politicians are raising their pay by 300%. You should be able to bring the crime rate down. And I think that if we're able to bring the crime rate down, then other countries will start looking on us differently. And we may start to benefit in the future from some of these freedoms that are being afforded to other countries. You know what I mean? We may start to be able, we may be able to travel, you know what I mean, without the visa restrictions. But the onus is on us as the Jamaican government to bring down the crime rate. You know what I mean? And it's not Jamaica on a whole. It's a few people that are making us suffer because of bad press. You know what I mean? So this narrative that oh Jamaica is not respected and whatever, that's not true. That's not true. Jamaicans are very loved people, and if you should spend time in New York or any of the tri-state areas, you will notice that many of the persons from other countries are persons from the continent of Africa and from other Caribbean islands. They actually pretend to be Jamaicans. Why would they pretend to be Jamaicans if Jamaicans weren't seen as the cream of the crop? You get me? So it's just the crime situation, you know what I mean, which looks very bad. It has smudged our face, and once we can get that under control, Jamaica should be okay on the international scene. You know what I mean? And I mean, this is no diss to Serpi, but I just think that he was off key with those comments. You know what I mean? Jamaica is a cultural superpower that is respected globally. You know what I mean? We just need to flush out the bad apples and, you know, claim our spot. I'm out.